Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I was coming in for a second because I saw DL Hughley. I guess he was one of the guest hosts for Trevor Noah the other day on Comedy Central. And I think DL is, he's a good professional comedian and everything else. And I hope he gets that opportunity, and good for him. But I saw that he did a segment. I didn't watch the whole thing, to be honest with you, but I did see where he did a segment about Jason Whitlock and Jason Whitlock's comments. His really, I think, problematic comments about the killing of Tyree Nichols and single mothers, the baby mama culture in the black community. Right now, on one hand, I don't agree with what Jason had to say. I know DL and Jason. I know them both. I've talked to them both on the phone several times. So we just kind of all know each other in passing. And but at the same time, I think these guys are smart enough and strong enough where they can receive critique, because I'm sure they would critique me. DL did a whole video about me maybe about a couple months ago, and I receive it. It's fine. It's life. That's what people do. But here's the thing, right? So DL, let me give you the context, and then I'll kind of give you my perspective on this and why I'm even sharing this point of view. So DL did a segment where he's basically calling out Jason Whitlock for his unfortunate comments about single mothers and connecting it to the Tyree Nichols killing and all that, which really is just kind of, it's Jason kind of being Jason. Jason's a little bit too raw in his comments sometimes, and sometimes it's a little too black and white for him. I don't know if he is always open to other points of view, and so he deserves to be criticized for that, especially in terms of how that comment was taken. You can't look at the Tyree Nichols situation and say, well, it's because we have so many single mothers. Another way to say that actually would be to say that we have a lot of absent fathers, right? People will talk all day about single mothers, but don't talk much about absent fathers. And I think that all comes together, but it doesn't mean that the men are solely responsible for the epidemic. It doesn't mean the women are solely responsible, because two people make a baby together. It's two people doing this together, not one person. Now, here's the thing. So Jason's comment could have been said better. I don't agree with it in terms of how it was presented. I think what he was trying to say, which I'll just say what I think, what I'm hoping he was trying to say, is that there is a difference in terms of black male behavior when there's masculine leadership in place versus when there's not masculine leadership. And what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of the gang violence you see on the south side of Chicago is a direct reflection of the missing fathers in that community. Fathers are the gatekeepers. We're the ones who hold it down. We're the OGs. We're the mentors. We're the ones who get involved, who can intervene in a gang affiliated situation and protect people. Like Farrakhan, for example. Farrakhan has done this. When rappers get into a beef, they sit down with Farrakhan, and he's able to help squash the beef in a way that would be different if he were a woman. I think young women listen to women differently from the way they listen to men. Young men listen to men differently from the way they listen to women. Give me a yes if you kind of understand where I'm going with this. It doesn't mean women don't add value. It doesn't mean women aren't amazing. It doesn't mean women aren't doing the best they can. It just means that boys, when they hit about 13 or 14 years old, and this is not just true for humans, this is true for all mammals, actually. Most male mammals, when they hit adolescence and beyond, they respond differently when they have a man kind of holding it down versus when there is no man. Think about any time you've ever seen a boy who got to be 13, 14 years old. The bass in his voice appears. He starts to get a little hair on his chest. Next thing you know, he's talking shit to his mama. And his mama is, screaming, you go out in them streets, you better bring your black ass home. He's like, yeah, whatever. And I get that, because I remember going through that phase myself where my mama would come in with all that yelling and screaming. And I got to the point where I was like, wait a minute, I'm bigger than you. You need to back the hell up. The only thing that stopped that was my father's presence. My father was a police officer. And when I got too out of pocket, my father toned me down. It was my father who did that, right? And I really wish people would understand this and stop acting like fathers don't matter. So I'm hoping that's what Jason was trying to say. He said it badly. He deserves to be criticized for his comment. He's a strong guy. He can take criticism. Now, another strong guy who can also take criticism is DL Hughley. DL He did a segment on the Trevor Noah show where he was kind of, going after Jason Whitlock or whatever. And again, this is feeding more into all the black on black stuff, right? Now, I will talk crazy about black people to other black people, right? Not talk crazy, but I'll be critical or whatever, right? Like I'll talk to you guys about Whitlock and DL because there's a nuanced conversation. Neither one of these guys are complete assets. Neither one of these guys are complete liabilities. But you can say the same thing about me. A lot of people will say the same thing about me. But you will never see me go on the Trevor Noah show in front of a bunch of white people and sit around and talk shit about black people. I just won't do that. If I go in front of a bunch of white people, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk shit about white people. If I go in front of a crowd full of white people, I'm gonna be like, here's what y'all need to fix. Here's what y'all need to change. No, yeah. We got this black guy over here that I disagree with, but right now that's my brother because right now we put on a unified front because the real enemy is the shit y'all are doing to even create the cage that's causing us to want to take each other out. That's what I would be doing. Right. So believe me, I would not be on the Trevor Noah show or any other white show sitting around talking shit about a black person. That's just not fun for me. That's a waste of energy. That's not my real adversary, but that's the game. They pin us against each other. They say, oh, well, here's a Negro that's a Democrat. Let's get a Negro that's a Republican. And let's let them fight it out. Like Chicken George fighting with the other slave from the other plantation. It's going to be entertaining, y'all. I'm not here for your goddamn entertainment. I'm just not. I'm not here for your entertainment. And so with if you remember, Jason, is somewhat aligned with the right. DL's aligned with the left. DL goes on this white show and he decides Jason, for whatever reason, is one of the biggest problems in the black community. When I personally think that the racial wealth gap is one of the biggest problems in the black community. I personally think that a government that doesn't give a shit about you is one of the greater problems in the black community. I personally think that white-owned racist media in hip-hop, where they're promoting a death culture to young black men, I think that's a bigger problem than Jason Whitlock. Just my 2 cents. I see Jason, when he's at his best, I see him as an asset because he believes in fatherhood. I see DL when he's at his best as an asset, when it comes to like a guy who's smart, who's trying to do the right thing. I don't agree with everything DL does, though. I think DL, unfortunately, he's a puppet for the Democrats. Everything he says is, well, everybody got to go get that jab. You got to go get that jab. If you don't get the jab, you're stupid. Fuck you. Like, why are you telling me I got to go put that shit in my body? I'm not saying that I dog you if you got the jab. If you got the jab, then good for you. Get another one. Like, I'm going to support you. I love you all the way you can get 80 jabs, and I get it. I understand. You want to protect yourself in the best way you know how. But when you're letting these people pay you to go out and promote this nonsense, do y'all remember when he fainted on stage and then said something like, yeah, I guess one of the other signs of COVID is fainting on stage or something. Like he tied it back into COVID and jabs and all that. And I'm like, dude, you just fainted. You probably fainted because you're old. Like, don't you smoke? Like, do you smoke cigarettes? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you could have diabetes or something. Like, why are you trying to make this a political conversation? Remember, and the thing is that you're ignoring vital information that people are paying attention to. Remember, Mark Lamont Hill, again, another guy running around promoting this jab. This man had a heart attack at the age of 38. Do y'all understand me? Do y'all hear what I'm saying right now? This man had a heart attack at 38. And he is the only 38-year-old black man I know that had a heart attack recently in the last year. Do y'all are y'all just so stuck on stupid with this Democrat-Republican nonsense that you can't see simple facts in front of you? I'm not saying that it's wrong to get the jab or right to get the jab. I'm saying that there needs to be a deeper conversation that goes beyond just, well, Dr. Fauci told me to say it, so I was just going to go repeat it because Master Biden told me to repeat this talking points and these messages, y'all. Get out of here, man. It's crazy to me. So my point on all this is to say that DL and Jason Whitlock are kind of the same guy. They are. I mean, and DL and Jason, if you're watching this, like, you can call me. Like, I'm a man. Like, you can call me and you say, Boyce, I didn't like what you had to say. And I'm going to be like, okay, let me hear your perspective. I will listen to you. I will respect you. I will have that conversation with you. I have nothing against you. I've talked to these guys on the phone before. Each time it was a good conversation. Jason called me when I was in Guyana, and he called me again a couple times later. I was on the show. DL has reached out. I saw DL when I went to Willie D. Willie D is one of my best buddies. He was in my wedding. And Willie D had an event. DL was hosting. DL did a great job because DL is a good comedian. But I stand by my basic point. DL's a comedian. He's a comedian. He's not a political analyst. He's a comedian. He's not a black leader. He's a comedian. He's not some sort of intellectual that should be guiding the direction of the black community. He is a comedian who is also too far in bed, getting screwed in the butt by the Democratic Party. Seriously, like he is a comedian who is like, I shouldn't have said that, was mean. But somebody said, why didn't you call them? Because it's a public conversation. I don't care about these celebrities. I'd rather talk to you. Talking to you is more interesting to me than talking to famous people. It's really more so to say, I personally think that black people should be independent. I think the only route you can take that's going to make any progress for you is you got to get out of the Democrat-Republican conversation. You got to, in my view, if you want my political opinion, I think we should exit the building because you got liberals that are giving you a bunch of nonsense, promoting agendas that don't make any sense. And then you got conservatives that, if I don't really think the people on Fox News care about you like that. I just don't think they like you. I think you're a convenient ally. There's some areas where you might overlap. Like they tend to believe in, families and fatherhood and all that. So that's some of the stuff where I'm like, okay, I can get with you on that. But then sometimes they get into a bunch of BS. Like they don't believe in taxing rich people. They protect rich people more than they protect anybody. So what the Republicans do is they use, Bible Belt dog whistle terminology to control the masses so they can do their number one job, which is to take care of the rich. And this is what I need y'all to understand. This is where my superpower emerges. I'm a financial guy. I can see how the money influences decision making. So the Democrats and the Republicans, they all do the same thing. The Republicans take care of rich conservatives. The Democrats take care of rich liberals. And the rest is just a bunch of banter that is carefully manipulated to make sure they get enough votes to allow them to pursue their agenda. Let me just say this. I've shown you guys the national debt clock in terms of how much money the government owes. Your children, grandchildren are cursed with debt. The pandemic was handled very poorly. The Biden administration was just pouring money out there. They created an inflation problem. That's why your groceries are out of control. That's why the rent prices have gotten out of control. That's why people can't afford stuff now. It's because they were pumping money into the economy in a very irresponsible way, giving it to the wrong people, giving it to their rich buddies. In fact, they gave $5 billion to people that didn't even really have an adequate social security number. That's how uncareful they were. And now you've got a big mess. A lot of the deficit and debt problems of the United States will be solved if they did one thing. If they did one thing, a lot of these problems would go away. You know what that is? All you got to do is tax the rich. Tax the rich. If they were to tax the rich the way they're supposed to, these problems would go away. If you analyze the national deficit, that shit started growing when Bush did the tax cuts back in 2000. Right before 9/11, this is a 20-year thing. Right before 9/11, Bush followed his predecessor, Ronald Reagan, and because Clinton had created a surplus, Clinton also took care of rich people. That's what the politicians do. That's why they're here. Just like the police protect the rich from the poor, that's a trickle down from the politicians protecting the rich from the poor. Reagan pushed through Reaganomics, which was terrible for the economy long term, but it was good for rich people. And then Clinton created a surplus. Because there was a surplus, Bush said, let's push through these tax cuts. And he basically cut taxes for the rich. Well, what he did not know was that the next year they were going to have 9/11, which is going to lead to a $1 trillion spending spree on military equipment to go fight this fake war over in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's literally what happened. And then if you look at the trend, that's when the deficit started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then Obama comes along. He's your hero because he's black and he knows how to fist bump with Michelle and y'all really, he's getting jiggy with Michelle and she's the beautiful family and all that. That was all. That's all. Unfortunately, a lot of that's an illusion, because if you remember when Obama took over office, right, he was like the black football coach. You know how they give the black football coaches opportunity when the team sucks? Like they brought Deion to Colorado because the team ain't won shit for 20 years. Well, the economy was in the tank when Obama came in. When Obama came in, the economy was in the tank. It was on the cliff. It was on the brink of major collapse. Obama comes in and gets three-quarters of, what was it, $750 billion, if I'm not mistaken, and gives that money straight to Wall Street. He did not go. Now remember, they could have went to Main Street. They could have went and helped people pay their mortgages. They could have did a lot of stuff with that money, but no, they gave that money to Goldman Sachs. They gave that money to Merrill Lynch. They gave that money to the people on Wall Street. So what I'm saying to you is, I would encourage you to really be careful about getting too caught up in this liberal conservative conversation, because there's no progress in it. If you look, the liberals haven't made any progress for black people. Conservatives haven't. I think that there are critical issues, like I think reparations is an important issue. I give California credit, though. California deserves credit for the fact that they're having real talk about reparations, to the point where they're pissing off the conservatives. I actually like that. But at the same time, on the right, I like states like Texas and Florida because they don't overtax you. They allow you a little bit more freedom. They believe in things that I also believe in, like freedom of speech. So I have some values that align with the liberal side, some that align with the conservative side. So that's why I'm in this precarious position of really having no true friends. The only true friends I have are intelligent people that are free thinkers. And that's honestly not the majority of people in this country. Most people in this country get their talking points from MSNBC or Fox. And I just can't align with that, because I think that's robotic thinking. So the reason I think that DL Hughley and Jason Whitlock are basically the same guy is because one's on the right, spouting talking points that fit consistently with the right. Remember, Jason was with, I think, Fox Sports for a while, so he's more conservative. And then DL is on the left. You know, if the Democrats come out next week and say everybody needs to get another jab, DL will be on his Twitter telling y'all better get your jab, y'all better get your jab. Right? That's because he's trying to position himself for his next opportunity. So this is where the economics ties back in. You got to understand that if you have your own ability to make your own money, and you don't need whatever butter biscuits and pieces of chicken that they're handing out in the Democrat or Republican parties, you can kind of seek the truth out wherever it lies. That's what freedom looks like. So for black people to really have freedom, you got to start with economic freedom. If you don't have economic freedom, then you might as well just, write yourself off, in terms of being adequate for the community. So that's my 2 cents, guys. I just had to share that real quick. That was my thought as my computer was working on updates. And I'm about to start a stock market class in 20 minutes, so I got to get on out of here. By the way, if you want to join us, feel free. Hit the link in the bio. I actually did a presentation called how to make money without working. I'm really big into stock options, and I love selling stock options, and I love to show you guys how to do it. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com, or you can hit the link in the bio, and you can take a look at that. All right, have a good day, everybody. I'll see you soon. And DL and Jason, if anything I said here bothers you and you want to talk to me about it, you're not only welcome to call me, but you're also welcome to come onto my platform, and I'll be more than happy to hear your talking points on the platform. In fact, I won't even debate you. I'll just listen. I'll let you do most of the talking, and I'll just ask a couple questions. Now, somebody says stick to finance. I just did stick to finance. So if you weren't smart enough to know that this was an economic conversation the whole entire time, then this is not the platform for you, because what you got to understand is that most of the stuff that goes on in the black community links back to the economics. We don't have our freedom because we don't have the economics. When you get your money right, Kanye said it. Kanye, another guy, I don't talk to Kanye anymore, but we did talk a little bit. And I'm going to tell you, Kanye had a great song. Remember that? La, 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 wait till I get my money right. La, 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 can't nobody tell me nothing. Remember that? And when Kanye got his money right, can't nobody tell him nothing. You can say a lot of stuff about Kanye. I think the mental illness thing is probably real. I think that Kanye is a little bit on that narcissist side, to be honest with you. There were a lot of things that bother me about the conversation. However, Kanye is his own man. You can't say he's not his own man. And you know why he's his own man? Well, because he has about $500 million in assets that he's accumulated in the course of his career. So even when they cut him off and he lost that $250 million a year he was getting from Adidas, my man still got money. Never make the mistake of believing that Kanye is completely broke. He ain't broke. He ain't canceled. That man has money. I saw the finances. He's doing okay. And I don't think he'd mind me sharing that with you, because he actually asked me to record our conversations. I just didn't release all the recordings because I'm not out here trying to just spill out every piece of the private conversation. But that part, I will say, again, Kanye frustrated me. There were a lot of things about the conversation that I wish he would actually hear. But at the same time, you cannot say he's broke. That man does have money. I verified it myself. He gonna be fine. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.